Hello and welcome to a loot level chill preview chat. I'm Mick Fraser. I'm talking to Adam Cook, and we're talking about. Oh, you tell him what we're talking about, Adam.
Doom the Dark Ages.
Doom the Dark Ages, because this lucky bastard's been and played it.
Yeah. It's really strange, though, because I came away just like... I don't normally have any trouble writing a preview, but it's one of those strange games where I feel like anyone who played the previous two sort of remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call them, or any of them, it's kind of all in. Like, they're ready. They know they just want to play it. And so that's why I was so excited to actually just play it. And it didn't let me down in any way at all. It is exactly what I was personally hoping for, which is a rarity, I think, in life, full stop.
So one of the things I wanted to say was, so you were looking forward to playing it. It's Doom. Everybody's excited. This is like a weird franchise in that. So imagine a normal franchise is always been sci-fi. Doom's always been sci-fi. It's always been metal as hell, but it's always been sci-fi, right? And now they go, this one's Dark Ages. So it's good. But normal franchises would have to do a step change for that.
But it's weird, right? Because this is one thing again, so it's worth mentioning I played 4 sections and they said it was from the opening act of the game. So 4 very distinct, and I'll get into that, sections of the game. And it's called the Dark Ages and it makes you think medieval and all that. But in truth, I'm not sure it's the I mean, unless the stuff I haven't seen. It is... I mean, there's still like space aliens and weird stuff going on. Like there are still spaceships involved, and like you beamed, in the opening level sort of I played, you beam down Doom Guy from a ship, and he's got like it's just they're talking on like headsets, like Bluetooth style headsets. Like it's not medieval in the traditional sense of the world in the word. You know, you are still Doom Guy with weapons, and like there is technology involved. It's kind of a weird thing, if I'm honest with you. So the Dark Ages thing is not so much a misnomer, but it is not the medieval thing I expected.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I presumed, being called the Dark Ages, that we were like going back in time when it was like an origins of the Doom guy.
Well, it is a prequel. It is a prequel
to
2016's Doom, although they've said on record that it's not going to end. Like, the ending of this won't be the beginning of 2016. Yeah. So that's...
Well, the lore legacy... Well, I suppose they'll leave it open for the Dark Ages too, but the lore legacy lineage of Doom it's kind of a spaghetti bowl, really. Yes. Like, it's kind of all over the place, and I don't think the developers even really care that much. It's kind of all open to interpretation.
I've got to be honest, I'm here for the gameplay predominantly. I mean, I played Doom back in the day when it was on MS-DOS game. I've played, I think, every Doom. Probably every Doom ever made. Don't know, I'd have to check that. But the gameplay is what I'm here for, and that's why when I said it's what I was hoping for, I don't know that I can speak for the whole world in that, but what I was hoping for is... So Doom Eternal... Doom 2016 was phenomenal, like absolute 10 out of 10 game for me. Doom Eternal was like, I don't think quite as good, but also different. And it went very heavily for movement-based stuff, that sort of thing. As I've gotten older, I've found really fast-paced shooters more difficult to cope with. I still play them and enjoy them, but what I was hoping for Doom the Dark Ages so far, and I played about 3 and a bit hours, is what I got, which is it really has... They're not saying this, but the thing I felt was this is the closest of the 3 to the original. Now, of course, you're not stuck with a just left and right view. It's still a modern FPS, but the focus, and there was a presentation before, and I'm jumping around a bit, but for example, when you fight what I presume was a cyber demon, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was a cyber demon. In traditional Doom, they're a big event. Like they're not like thrown around. In this, it's a similar thing, and they say in the presentation at the start, the idea here is you stand and fight, right? And so rather than like keeping them at range and firing off and strafing around, if you do that, they pepper you with... It's like a bullet hell. They pepper you with bullets. You need to get in and start meleeing and using your parry from the shield that you get. And it works, and it becomes like almost a rhythm game. So there's like a big green flash when they're going to hit you, and there's other, you've played video games, there's different colours that mean different things, but the green one is the parry one. You parry it with the shield and you can get a load of damage in on them, whether you want to shoot them with a super shotgun or whether you want to hit them with a mace. And the thing is when you miss one or you mistime something, it's like you get thrown out, so much thrown out, and you're like, that's when I died, is I just got thrown out and I couldn't get my rhythm back quick enough. And it becomes this rhythmic melee fight against a big enemy, and then it becomes this event. And like they said, stand and fight is right. You have to stand, and it really does feel like you are like, no, we are going mano a mano here. Like, this is me and you. Like, I've got a great big shield with a chainsaw on it, and it's tremendous fun. And the other thing I found is, again, and this is why I say it harks back to originals, is you're strafing around. You can still jump, and there's still movement involved and stuff, but you are strafing left to right to avoid bullets, and then
it's Doom, right?
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, the previous games have been more about, like, you're flying around and landing on top for glory kills, or like you're moving so quickly, whereas this feels more like there's a weight to this that I don't think the previous two had. Like, you feel like, there's, when you're wearing headphones, like, you can feel as he walks around, like, boom, boom, he's a big dude. If you jump from a ledge and you land in amongst a group of enemies, and they're the more grunt type enemies, you'll kill them, because you're just squishing them. Like, you are a big, heavy dude, and the emphasis is on, I've got a great big shield here, and I can, but it's not slow. Like, I'm not saying it's slow, it's just got a feeling of weight, and that you are a big bastard, and you are here to kill demons, and it makes you feel great. And
I suppose that's in service to the to the more melee and shield. Like
absolutely. But what I will say about that is, because I know from personal experience there will be people who are like, "Oh, that sounds like you've got to parry a lot." You do. However, I can tell you right now, there are so many adjustments you can make in terms of difficulty and parry windows. If you really struggle, you could make that. You could basically just hold, I don't think you just hold the trigger to guard all the time, but as close as damn it. Like, it is. I didn't change that, and yet even I was like, this is fine, this feels absolutely great. And it's just, you'll get enemies that fire like waves, like, again, a bit bullet helly, like waves of ammo at you, and they're red bullets, and then there's a line of green ones, and you've got to position yourself, parry it, and you'll attack them, and then if you want, you can throw your sword at them, and it's like a stagger mechanic, almost, the throw, because it's a chainsaw. You throw it at them, it sticks in them, and it's like, and it sort of staggers them for a bit and lets you get them close. And then if you're a bit later in the game with the mace, you can do massive damage. Like, there is so many weapons. They've changed the way the weapons work in terms of secondary abilities now. Like, if I recall correctly, you had to pick an upgrade. And like, that was like the upgrade for the shotgun, and that was the upgrade for that, and it could fire rockets if you had that upgrade. In this, rather than them all being like individual, it's sort of like, so each weapon, you press a button on the face of the pad, and it just changes to the secondary type. So it's almost like two weapons in one, and it just makes for a much quicker experience. So anything you might feel you're losing in that speed, you're gaining back in
efficiency, maybe. Yeah, it's
yeah.
interesting. What's interesting to me is that Doom Doom's like a progenitor, like everybody knows. Like, the original Doom I know it wasn't the first, but it's the one, even more so than Wolfenstein. It's the most famous, like, of the old school first person shooters. And what I find really interesting is how many franchises and developers and have sort of aped the original Doom. And then how many have aped sort of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal since they came out? And then sort of how many developers now are going back and forth? And like, even now, you see all these movement shooters that come out nowadays, and it's like, inspired by 90s FPS. They mean Doom when they say 90s. So you've got this massive legacy, and yet still they've gone, we're changing it up. And I know it might not be a huge departure.
Well, actually, this is the thing. I should mention this is important, because I mentioned I played 4 sections, and that's really important because the 4 sections were all completely different. So the first section was a very traditional story-based level. Now, the map still got secrets and extra keys, like secret keys and all these unlocks and stuff hidden around, and codex imports. One thing I will say as well, they've got the stories all cutscene based now. There are still codexes, but the story is told in cutscenes. Like, there are characters, that will happen. So that's like the first section I played, and that was great. That was great. Before I get to the last section, there were 2 smaller sections we got to play. One of which was called the Atlands. Now, the Atlands are like the giant mechs you can be in. That was great. That was just great. It reminded me a little bit of like Titanfall if it was a bit slower. You are in a giant Doom guy mech, and you are just literally. It becomes almost punch out, like, you know, the enemies are the giant demons, and you have to punch them and block them, and it's that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, just as you're like, this is cool, another guy in another Atlan comes along, and he just goes, here you go, but here's a gun. And all of a sudden you've got this massive, instead of doing the punching, you've got an enormous railgun, and you just stood there with this, just shredding these enemies to pieces. That section was really cool. After that, there's also a section, which people will have seen in the trailers, where you get to be on the back of a dragon. And that was really interesting. Yeah. And that section's going to live or die based on how often they use it. That's what I would say. It very much.
You think it's a one and done, or
no? I don't think it can be, because of the This is what I was going to say. The mechanical aspect of it is, so you are flying around and you've got control of the dragon. When you come to the set pieces, you go into like you sort of lock onto the enemy, and you can imagine a sort of square-based grid around the enemy, and you just sort of strafe round it, and you have to dodge the attacks, and that boosts your damage. And the section I played, you do that, and you have to do it sort of multiple times, and it knocks a ship down. And it reminded me a bit of one of the Halos, where you had to get into one of these big walking things and destroy it from within. And that's what you're doing. You bomb it and destroy it so you can get in. Then you land the dragon and you do an on-foot section. And what I found really cool about this is I thought, well, I've done one, and you have to do 4 in that section. I thought they'd just repeat it. Each one of them had a different approach option, and each one had a different interior design. And I really thought they would just be like copy-paste these. They are the same ships. That section, I think, like I say, if they overdo the dragon sections, that could be a bit of a problem, because I don't think the flow of them is quite in keeping with the Atlan stuff and the siege stuff, which is the last part I want to talk about. So the siege stuff, wow, just massive open maps with objectives all around them. So many enemies, you're like, I don't think they've done this before. Hidden secrets everywhere. There are objectives to do. Obviously, you have to progress them to finish the map, the story section. But they are huge. I mean, I did finish them, but I didn't finish them. There was I finished the objectives and did some of the side stuff, but they're so big. And again, I'm told it was just all this was from the first act, which makes me think you're going to get bigger as the game goes along. But those siege sections were massive open maps. Huge levels with just like loads of side quests, loads of optional secrets, loads of combat. Like, there's a really cool thing, like you'll get to a certain enemy and it's got you might be just an enemy you've seen before, but it's got shields floating around it. Basically, a bar will appear, that's a boss enemy, and another bar underneath it. You can't even damage that enemy until you've cleared the battlefield. And once you've done that, you kill this enemy that's like an elite version of the enemy, whatever it may be. And then when you kill it, you get like a glory kill style animation, and that's how you upgrade stuff. Like, usually I found that would give me an upgrade to the maximum amount of shield I could have. But there's similar stuff for health upgrades, and yeah, this is a big game. I know they've said like, oh, it's the biggest Doom we've ever made. I don't think they're lying.
No, it was 2016 and Eternal weren't small, were they? No. For first-person shooters, they were running 18, 20-plus hours.
No, I get the feeling this is a biggie, and I genuinely... to close out, I would just say, like I said, the only concern I have is if they overdo the dragon missions, because I didn't come away from them thinking they were bad. I just did feel that the flow of them was different. I'm really interested in everything about this game. I just cannot wait. Like, May feels ages away. I've been thinking about this for over a week, and May feels so long away. I can't wait. It's just
Well, me too. It looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. Yeah, you can check out Adam's preview on lootlevelchill.com. And if you want, you can jump into our Patreon and you can join us on our Discord, have a chinwag about it. That's always good fun. But yeah, in the meantime, I think that's it. We can sign off with go get excited for Doom the Dark Ages, because we are.